What's up, everybody? It's Ben from GrapplingInsider.com. Today, I am joined by one of the best lighter weight submission grappling competitors in the world. He is getting ready for his third straight ADCC World Championship, Keith Krikorian. Keith, thanks for joining me today.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Of course, as always. Also, one of my favorite people to interview. No shade to anybody else that I've ever interviewed, but I think this might be our fifth time chatting for Grappling Insider. I'm not entirely sure.
Fourth or fifth. Yep. Yeah.
It's been a while, man. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about ADCC. Tell me about your training camp. I don't think you have any matches lined up between now and then. Tell me, like, what are these final several weeks going to look like getting ready for ADCC?
Yeah. These are probably gonna be the weeks I'm taking things a little more seriously, I started off the camp feeling really good. But just like, I didn't want to peak for too long, I didn't want to do too much for too long. Like, I know some of these guys are doing like 16, 12-week camps, stuff like that. I just don't really see myself getting as much value from that. So, really for me, it was like, I train year round, obviously, but like a pretty specific 6-week camp of like, you know, consistent training, skill development, 2-a-days, the hard live rounds, all the strength conditioning, like the whole shebang. And yeah, so this is kind of like my midway through my second week of like pretty hard training. I also like, you know, I feel like I, for like the first few weeks of what would be normally people's, early part of their camp, like I kind of tried to make that more about like just kind of enjoying my summer and like having it like and not, making sure that I'm happy going into camp. I don't feel like being miserable for 16 to 12 weeks works very well for me. I think it works probably better for maybe more of the old school guys or just for different personality types. But for me, it's just not as helpful to feel like I'm just, training and competing year round. So to your point about not having any matches coming up, my original intention was to get a few matches in before ADCC, but it doesn't really seem like anything's panned out, and I don't really want to force anything. So I might just go in kind of like kind of cold turkey and see how that goes. Every other year I insisted on competing. I think one year, first year 2019, I competed in Anaga the week before, like 5 days before ADCC, I think it was, or 6 days rather, because it was like Sunday. So, man, I think yeah, and I can't say it helped me, because I haven't really had a whole lot of success at ADCC yet. So, and then the next year I tried the same thing. I tried to compete really pretty regularly before, and yeah, it didn't really feel like it benefited me too much. So now I'm kind of taking a different approach, focusing on my training, my just like mindset and personal life and skill development and strength conditioning and all the stuff that probably wasn't focusing on as much previously because I was doing more, let's say, like getting competition prep and getting ready for specific matches before ADCC. Now it's kind of just focusing on one thing and getting myself better, and I feel like it seems like, well, we'll see how it works out, but it seems like it's not, it wasn't my original intention. Like I wanted to compete, but it's how it's working out, and I think it might be a better idea. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I did, I wanted to ask like how, if things are different compared to years past. Like talk to me a little bit more about like what are the main benefits to changing it up? And like you said, you wanted some matches. Is it a matter of just like getting older? Like you can take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit leading up to ADCC, or like, talk to me about like how it feels different, maybe competing less, training, not having this crazy like 16-week camp, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that old. But
A little bit, a little bit.
no, I'm getting older. Yeah, I'm getting older. But I feel great. I feel like I'm truly am approaching my prime. I don't feel like I'm even there yet, but I do feel way better than the past. Like I just feel better, man. Like, um, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, like everything feels better. And when I've talked to you in the past, like, you know, um, I think things like my, mindset was maybe a little more chaotic than it is now. And like now I'm a little more centered. I'm a lot more centered. I'd say I'm a lot more grounded and just like, I just feel better. Like I feel better day to day. I feel more grateful and thankful for things. I don't feel like stressed by responsibilities associated with being kind of good at jiu-jitsu or in the position I'm in within jiu-jitsu. Like that used to really stress me out. And now it's kind of like just fun. It's fun. It's cool. I'm really grateful for it, and like it doesn't really make me as yeah, it just doesn't make me as anxious as it used to. Now it's kind of, my anxiety, that's another thing. It's improved like 10,000 fold since over the past few years since I started to kind of like, really start competing and doing this professionally, I'd say. Man, so many things have changed. Like I feel really great. I've, done a lot of like self-reflection and you know, uh just general like kind of mindset work and man, I mean, I've really felt a lot of improvement, just adopting like healthy habits and kind of trying to measure myself self-worth through like my kind of day to day and my actions and how the people I love view me rather than like how the jiu-jitsu community or the jiu-jitsu world or like any like grappling accomplishments would validate me. Like that stuff matters a lot less to me now. And you know I kind of thought that would hurt my jiu-jitsu, and I thought it would maybe make me a little worse, if you're not like if you don't care too much about like just success and results and stuff. But frankly, I feel like it's made me a lot better, like competitively and just in the gym. Like I feel way better. Like I have less stress and anxiety. I have less yeah, I'm not as like, I don't beat myself up as much, and man, I just feel really good because of it. So um yeah, I'm happy with that, because like I said, I thought you had to only care about jujitsu to be good at jujitsu. But I just don't know if that's true. Not anymore. And yeah, man, just kind of enjoying the journey at this point, and still kind of like that's kind of allowed me to like take all the right steps to improve my game and my skills and get better and get stronger, faster. Like I'm enjoying the strength conditioning. I'm enjoying the drill work. I'm enjoying the live training. Like feel really good. Yeah, just, feel much better than I ever have.
What's up, everyone? Chances are, if you're tuning into this interview, you probably train in jiu-jitsu, whether it's in the gi, no gi, or both. I've been training for about 13 long years now myself, and when it comes to the gear that I like to use, I personally recommend Rev Gear. They have a premium gi that I love. They have an ultralight competition gi. They have grappling shorts. They even have rash guards that are pretty understated in design, but still really sharp looking. High quality gym bags, even backpacks that can hold multiple gis. So basically just like everything you would need for BJJ training. The best part for me personally is that nothing on that site will break the bank. We're not talking $75, $80 rash guards or $250 gis. Everything that RevGear offers is super reasonably priced, which personally I love. To make it even sweeter, RevGear is offering a 10% discount on every purchase made on revgear.com when you use the promo code INSIDER10 at checkout. That's INSIDER10 for 10% off anything and everything you buy on the site. I will also drop a link in the video description below. Again, I cannot recommend their stuff enough. Everything I have from Rev Gear fits well, it's solidly made, and in my experience, holds up great in the long run. Again, head over to revgear.com. That's REVGEAR.com. Use the promo code INSIDER10 for 10% off any purchase made and get some quality gear at a phenomenal price. Now, back to the interview. Man, I love to hear it. And you kind of talked about this, but I've been interviewing you for a while, and like, yeah, you've been a little bit anxious in the past, or a little bit down on yourself, maybe. Tell me, like, you don't have to get into super specifics, but like logistically, like, are you journaling every day? Did you have some crazy DMT trip? Like, what happened to where you're suddenly, what I'm hearing is like you get a lot more like internal validation, a lot more internal motivation rather than worrying about what other people think or measuring your results. Kind of tell me like what happened, what caused this shift for you?
I don't know. Maybe it was just time removed from, being in high school and college, where like everyone's measuring their success through grades and popularity and, you know, um, I don't know, academics, just like extracurricular clubs and shit and success in that way. And like, kind of that's how I thought, okay, I thought that's what you gotta do that. You gotta measure your self-worth by how other people view you, everyone's asking you like all the time, like, oh, like, well, what's your plan for making money for the rest of your life? What are you doing now? And like that stuff always kind of like, oh, I guess that's all people care about. And it kind of took me removing myself from that and then, figuring out what I want, like what makes me happy, and, I'm not trying to be like a fucking eat, pray, love type guy, but like, I just like, I don't know. I like being pretty simple and doing things that make me, feel good and make the people around me feel good too, and nah, man, I really don't know. Like, I think I think that just once I kind of took small steps in the right direction, everything kind of snowballed and you know, my buddy was talking to me last night, and he was saying, one kind of move in the wrong direction can domino things in the wrong direction, right? One small move in the right direction can domino them the other way. So I kind of had to start doing that. I mean, I went from like, you know, constantly like, you know, thinking negatively, and then that affected my decision making. Maybe I'd, eat like shit and then sleep like shit and then train like shit and then perform like shit competitively, and then that snowballed. Now it's like very simple things like, be really kind to myself, be really kind to the people around me, love myself and them, and then that dominoed into like, all right, I'm gonna treat my body pretty good. I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna sleep well, I'm gonna hydrate, takes whatever supplements I think will benefit me, and then that dominoes into great training, great you know great attitude, good mindset, and I think good performances. Like, I mean, since making the shift, I've actually like, I feel like my jujitsu's improved a lot. My competitive, um, performance has improved a lot. I don't know. Last year I was kind of, in the past, like honestly, my whole career I've had pretty inconsistent results. Like I've some days I look like the best dude in the world, and then other days I kind of look like an average Joe. And since kind of, making the shift, I mean, I don't know what like my competitive record has been, but like I've just felt like I can perform a lot better. And I mean, I've only really lost like one match. I think it was just the DeAndre match in the past, like since Baby Shark, maybe, or no, since Ethan, I guess. But not like saying that's like tell all or anything, but like, I mean, man, since just making a small mindset shift, you know, had a lot more wins than losses. Like that's a pretty cool thing for me. I actually, to be honest, have not thought about that until just now. But that's pretty cool, I guess. And just like, realistically, like I just feel much better out there, and I'm having more fun, and I'm enjoying myself, and I'm enjoying training, and I'm enjoying getting better, and I frankly feel like I've gotten, a million times better since kind of making this little adjustment, and just not being so hard on myself. And to answer your first question, like, yeah, I've been journaling, I started seeing a therapist again, and not that I think though either of those things has made like a massive difference. Like you can you can work on yourself, in other ways. Like that just kind of happened to be something that's worked for me. And Yeah, man. I mean, just all those things combined, like just treating myself well, like I always kind of, you know, felt like it's kind of lame to do stuff like that, and it's kind of first world problems, but I don't know, it makes me feel a lot better, and as someone who's consistently dealt with anxiety and depression his whole life, I can say for certainty that doing the personal work versus not doing it has made me feel like a new man, and I've pretty much kind of kicked all that anxiety and depression in the ass, and that's a pretty gratifying feeling. So, when I put it in that perspective, like jujitsu doesn't really even matter to me, like jujitsu doesn't measure my self-worth. And it's kind of like me that does that, um, and ironically, I think that helps me have success in jujitsu, and I don't know if that's how it'll work for every person, but that's definitely how it's been for me. So, I'd recommend it to whoever is struggling with stuff like that, and um, yeah, man, and yeah, like I said, made a big difference.
I love it, man. That's beautiful to hear. I like it because you hear a lot of people say like jujitsu is my therapy, jujitsu is my therapy, and maybe for some people it truly is, but if you're not feeling good when you step on the mats already, why would grappling for an hour make you suddenly feel like a different person,
100%. That's a great point.
And then real quick, when you were talking, man, to plug another one of my interviews, I will say you're not alone in this kind of get your mental health right to perform right. I interviewed Juni Ocasio, who last year
Yeah,
had a banner year, right? Won all
yeah,
the major
Junie's the man.
IBJJFs. And I talked to him, I was like, what happened? And he basically said what you just said, essentially, is like I stopped caring about what other people thought of me. I just focused on myself, started seeing a therapist, I got things right, and then everything kind of fell into place. So
Oh yeah, good for him, man. Junie's. I've always really liked Junie, man, and I didn't know that about him. But that's really cool. And yeah, shout out fucking Junie Lock and Z Lock. That actually, I added both of those into my game. Um, what fucking like over the last year, and it's pretty legit. So yeah, clearly he's doing something right. That's badass. And yeah, like you said, he's won a lot of important events and stuff that like um I bet would have been harder for him to reach had he, you know, not done that kind of like that personal work and stuff. That's cool, man. Good for him. That's awesome. I'm gonna reach out to him.
yeah, if you don't, I'm gonna send him the clip of you just giving him some praise right now. But yeah, man, I think it's huge getting kind of the mental side right before you compete. So going back to like training a little bit, like logistically, are you doing most of your training at what 10th Planet San Diego? Or are you bouncing around? Like what's that look like?
Oh, excuse me, dude. Yeah, so yeah, previous ADCC camps was like it was so super hard for me to find a consistent spot to train or spots to train. Like, I was in college in my first ADCC, so like, beginning part of the summer, I'm, in San Diego, and then the end part, like later part of the year, closer to ADCC, I'm like up in college. So like finding places to train was really hard. Last year or well, it would have been, last ADCC, like I was just traveling, competing all the time, was injured all the time, was like couldn't find, then just like kind of outsourced my training to a bunch of like random places, wherever I thought would like really benefit me, but kind of trying to keep it in house for this one, like doing majority of the training of my training at Temple San Diego, and a lot of training in Temple Oceanside with Geo, and beyond that I lift and train a lot at Electrum Performance, which is it's like right across the street from Atos. So I get a lot of work in with those guys. That's where I do my strength conditioning, and then I do a lot of like drill work and situationals with like some of the Atos guys, and that's been really helpful. And then I've been doing privates with JFlow. Those have been super beneficial. So like, yeah, man. less of like me going to every gym in Southern California and me just kind of like honing in at my home gyms, and then, doing a little bit of like technical work, either at EP or with JFlow. And then, yeah, the strength and conditioning also at EP, that's made a huge difference in like my jujitsu, my fucking mindset, my physical. Like I've never ever been a guy with muscles, and like just took like honestly just took 2 years of consistent. I know it sounds like a lot of time, but really it's not. Just 2 years of consistency with the lifting and their program and like they actually know what they're doing. Like it's not like I've never seen a weight in my life. I just didn't know what was functional, how to like lift for performance and results. And man, now I'm just I feel so good and I have abs and and muscles, and I've never been a guy like that, so man, it's been that's been huge. And obviously just like getting pretty good vibes from my home gyms is really nice, from 10 Planet San Diego and Oceanside, like just knowing everyone and not feeling like I'm showing up to the gym every day and it's like totally new dudes who are like trying to roll with me for the first time and impress me and like kick my ass, because they think that like they need to show me that they're good. It's like I already know everyone I train with is super good. They don't feel the need to like go 1,000% with me and do something stupid every day. We're rolling at a really great pace and really technically and figuring out each other's games in a really healthy and like responsible way. And then on top of that, I just I'm friends with everyone at 10 Planet San Diego, so it's like just really great vibes and man, and just like being able to train with Boogie and Geo or under Boogie and Geo like that has been like just really cool. It's been helping me a lot and man, yeah, it's just so much positive, like it's been really great.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that. We've probably talked about this before, but I feel like the Geo and Boogie, I don't know if I don't want to say they don't get the credit they deserve, but like there's a lot of homegrown talent coming out of those gyms that are
Yeah,
elite, like yourself included. Um, you got another ADCC,
Alex
Alex,
Grandy.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know like Kyle Chambers is another super high level guy. Talk to me about like what are they doing right to produce this like elite homegrown talent?
Yeah, well, man, it's kind of top down. Like, I mean, I can only speak from my perspective. I don't know what they've done for other guys, but like really the main thing that they've done for me was just facilitate like a a healthy training environment and like a constructive training environment. And they showed me that it's possible to do this. You know what I mean? To do the full time jujitsu thing and the professional jujitsu thing, and like um they were the first guys that I ever saw, or the only guys that I knew because I was just like a white belt, blue belt, watching them fly all over the country, teach and compete and build their names and take their experience back into the gym and rub off on us, And so I was just like, all right, cool, I'll do that too. And by just following their example, have found success. If I didn't have them to do that, there's no way I would do this on my own. Like I wouldn't know how. So man, it's been yeah, that just like that alone has been what, I think has inspired everyone and motivated people and just shown us the path, like and I know with Alex Grandy, like, you know, uh he was like really talented when he came to us, like because he wrestled, but he was still really green. And now to see him follow in Boogie's footsteps and become like a very good leader at the gym and a well-rounded grappler, and a great training partner, a great coach, a great like mentor and just a dude, man, like yeah, like a really like another Boogie, which has been super positive to have at the gym, I feel like Boogie carried a lot of the load previously, and now like he's got someone like Alex who can, you know, um, yeah, just be a leader at the gym, and I don't know if I'm necessarily in that same boat. I wouldn't consider myself like a leader. I consider myself a student training partner, you know. But it's cool to see, you know, Boogie kind of like raise someone up like Alex and you know except like many other guys, you know. Like you said Kyle Chambers and PJ and you know all those guys are now very very good leaders in their own right because they followed the examples of Geo and Boogie and yeah man, I'm getting there, but you know I'm still I like you know I truly I'm like we talked about. I'm getting older, but I still feel super young. Like I feel pretty immature still. So I still need a lot of growing to do before I can like step into a leadership role, you know. But it's cool to see their example and follow in their footsteps. And yeah, man, just you know, always bringing good energy. Like you know, like what you couldn't ask for much more from a coach, you know.
For sure. I love it. So let's hop into ADCC
Oh
2024
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Tell me like this is your third ADCC. How does this 66 kilogram division compare to 2019 and 2022 for you?
Yeah, I mean, Scott, I mean, who knows? It's probably just as tough. You know, you wouldn't say it's easier, but I also wouldn't say any of the past divisions were easier either. I think every year it's consistently hard. I think the levels raised with um, just like as jujitsu as a whole is getting much better. Like so too are these divisions, you know. But I wouldn't say like at the time 2019 was the hardest division ever. At the time, in 2022, hardest division ever, and this year hardest division ever. Like it's gonna keep being that way, you know. And yeah, I mean, you know, I to be honest, I haven't even really thought much about ADCC as far as like matches and guys and tournament itself, you know, but from what I know, like every single dude in there is really good. And and I mean, I don't even I don't even know who's gonna win. Like that's a pretty that's a pretty hard one to call. And like the same with 2019 and same with um 2022. There's no returning champion. Oh okay, well there is a returning champion this year, but you wouldn't I mean, no disrespect, I wouldn't consider him the favorite, you know. Because you know, I mean maybe he is the favorite, but like the one seed, let's say, but like there are so many other favorites in the division, and that's kind of um, similar to 2019 and 2022. Like no one would have predicted Tanquino winning 2019. No one would have predicted Baby Shark winning last year, or you know, very few people because there's just so many good guys. You know what I mean? No disrespect to those dudes. I hope that's not like being misinterpreted, but the same with this year. Like there's just so many good guys. No one knows what's gonna happen. You know. And it's like not even worth me really like thinking about, you know, like who the potential matchups are, who the favorites are, you know, like and honestly like I study jujitsu a lot, so like I know all these guys' games like pretty much inside and out. At least, you know, like their historical games, you know what I mean? Like unless they've like added unless Dorian Oliveras has added like a false reap game, you know, or something. Like I've been watching them forever, so like I kind of know everyone's game, so it's like, you know, um for me it's like I've less been thinking about, you know, stressing myself out with like potential matchups and stuff, and more just like, you know, kind of trying to skill build on myself. Maybe closer to the event when we kind of have a better idea of brackets or like maybe just generally closer to the event. I can start to like think about some matchups and stuff, you know. But as of right now, I know all the guys that are in it, obviously, and I know all their games, but it's not like it's not like it's not something I think about too much as far as like I don't think about the division a whole lot, you know. um, just because, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's this point of the camp, and previously it's been about like getting myself better, you know, stealing their techniques really.
Yeah, I kind of figured, given your new mindset, the way you describe it, I kind of figured you wouldn't have like, oh, this is how I'm gonna beat Ash Williams, this is how I'm gonna beat Baby Shark, whatever. I kind of
Yeah.
figured that would be your outlook.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then, as a fan, right? If you were just a fan, who do you think you would match up with well to make for an exciting match? Is it any of
Oh,
those
an
rematches?
exciting match. Anyway, I don't think there's a boring guy in the division. Um, it would be easier for me to think of boring guy or like, yeah. Well, no, maybe it wouldn't be. It's actually like I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean everyone in that division is pretty explosive and like submission oriented, I'd say. Like even guys who wouldn't consider too submission oriented, like Baby Shark or Dorian, like they still have submissions. Like Dorian tapped a lot of guys at trials. Baby Shark just tapped Shea Montague at excuse me, who's number one. Pato's an insane submission threat. Ethan Cisneros, Mauricio, and I'm forgetting a ton of other guys, obviously. But like everyone's got like, lot like a submission heavy game. And that's always exciting for me to go against because I like dueling submissions with guys. Um, I don't love just hand fighting for 20 minutes or whatever. I kind of just like seeing throwing as many subs out and seeing who's is gonna hit. But yeah, as far as exciting matches, um, Fabricio is a really exciting one. I think with anyone. Uh, uh, what are some names? Who do you think is a super exciting match?
I mean, there's a bunch of fun rematches for you
Mm.
specifically, and I was gonna ask like, I mean, like I think I mentioned Ash Williams. I think your match against him at was it Grapple Fest is
Oh
like a
yeah, yeah.
sleeper. It was a banger of a match. I'd
Dude,
love
I
to see
know.
you.
No one really got to see it, but that was a good match, huh?
Really fun.
Yeah.
Rematches with Gabriel Souza. I think
Oh yeah.
any match against Ethan Krell, that's another rematch,
Yeah.
but any match with
Yeah.
Ethan is going to be a banger. You've brought up Dorian Olivares. I think
Mhm.
stylistically, he's going to be fun with
Mhm.
like literally anybody.
Yeah.
Um, Man, I don't know. I think. Whoops, sorry, my dogs.
Oh, you're good.
Uh, I think there's a ton of fun matches. Do you have a preference? Like, again, I know you're not one to like call anybody out. That's not what I'm asking you to do or anything.
No,
But
you're
do you have a
good.
preference for a rematch or a new opponent?
No, I wouldn't, dude. I like every match is a new match, really. You know what I mean? Like I've competed against maybe at least half the guys, right? You'd think I've definitely competed against at least half the guys on the roster or in the bracket. Um, and you know, a match with them a year ago is gonna be completely different than a match today. They're just so much different. Like they're so much better. And I'd like to think I'm as well. Um, and yeah, so I don't know, man. I mean, to be honest, like now that I'm even thinking about it, I'm probably like a combined like 2 and like 27 versus these guys. Like I'm pretty sure I've lost to like at least half the guys in the bracket like multiple times. Um and but like frankly, like I think that puts me DeAndre Corby, he's in it as well. Sorry, speaking of people I've lost to. But I feel like it puts me in a pretty good spot, honestly. Like I don't really feel any pressure because of that. Like um not that I would anyways, I don't think. But you know, historically, like I mean, I remember when we talked before 2022, like after winning trials, it's kind of like it does put a lot of pressure on you, and people do think you're a lot better than you maybe are. Um, because trials is such an insane tournament, like it's warranted. Like that tournament is the hardest thing in the universe. In my opinion. So yeah, I understand people like thinking that you're untouchable and stuff, or that you're a favorite heading into ADCC because of that. But realistically, like trials is a completely different tournament than ADCC. Guys are completely different athletes when they're competing at trials versus when they're competing at ADCC. They're cycling way harder. They put in, like I said, 16, 12 week camps. Like, that's a different athlete. Yeah. So anyway, so kind of yeah, maybe not making my way to the point that I originally intended to, but yeah, I had no preference on any matches. They're all gonna be fresh. They're gonna be new. I'm a new guy, they're a new guy. Our past matches are our past matches. I don't really like I've never really like wanted to like get one back, like if I lose a match, I lose a match. That's forever. Like, I mean, you don't get wins back. That's not how it works, like so it's like kind of not really worth like viewing the scoreboard as 0-1 going to the match. That would be like starting the match at a 2 point deficit. You know what I mean? Like oh, the other guy already has 2 points. That's you're kind of crutching yourself. So to me, it's like nah, new match, new dude. Can't even like you can't really think about the other matches. Um and yeah, so that's kind of my I guess my philosophy heading into this one as well. You know, just thinking just thinking totally new match. Obviously, I technically I'll have learned things from past matches and I'll try to use that. But as far as like needing to get a win because it would even a scoreboard or it would adjust the scoreboard is a little silly. Like I said, I think you're already putting yourself at a deficit in that way.
For sure. I want to answer your question because I pulled up the 66 kilogram roster. All those Ash Williams rematch banger, Ethan Crelinson
Yep,
rematch banger.
yep.
One match that fell through that was originally scheduled that I was so excited
Hmm.
for was you against Owen Jones.
Oh
And
yeah.
I mean that I don't know how they're going to seed it, but that realistically could be a first round matchup. I think that would be fireworks. I think you guys
Yeah.
are both super
Yeah, it'd be
excited.
exciting one. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
Polaris wouldn't be happy about that. They want us to match up with Polaris.
I mean, put on a banger at ADCC, then have a title match at Polaris or whatever.
Maybe, maybe.
So tell me, like, kind of in your own words, like what needs to go right for you to make it to the podium this year? Like, let's say if when you envision yourself at the top of that podium, like, what went right over those 2 days for you to get there?
It's to be honest, man, it's sorry, I'm a little congested. It's less of what would go right in the 2 days, and it's more of like what is going right now. Like I'm, I'm putting in an actual camp. I feel really good. I'm not constantly stressed. I'm not constantly anxious. And like, dude, that anxiety, like, people kind of underplay it, but like that shit'll beat you down to like, a shell of your actual self. And and kind of working past that has like really helped me. Um, yeah, it's just kind of helped me like become a good grappler during this camp. Like work on all the things that I want to work on and all the things I should work on, and being kind of the optimal version of myself. So it's like as far as 2 days, I mean, you know, I could catch a few subs or I could barely squeak out a few refs decisions. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of as however I'm gonna win doesn't really matter to me. It's not like something I can really control, but I can control the camp. I can control my effort in the camp. I can control my attitude, and um, you know, uh, I think that's more important. So like 2 days, anything can happen. It's kind of a flip of a coin in a lot of matches. It's a lot of like maybe luck, let's say even. Um, but in camp, it's not luck. Like you showing up to training consistently every day, twice a day, that's not luck. That is consistency and discipline and effort, and that's what I'm doing. Not because like I care about the result of 2 day tournament. Like it's because I care about now. I care about how I feel now. I care about how I feel every day. Like I want to be feeling like I'm being disciplined and building confidence in the training room and working on my weaker points and making adjustments to my game and my lifestyle. Um and yeah, man, and this it's just been going a lot better. Yeah, things have just been going great. And I don't really talk about this much or anything, but like, I've like had kind of substance abuse problems in the past, and like, um, this camp has been the first time in like my kind of whole jujitsu career that I haven't like smoked or drank, um, and like, and like consistently, um, and that's made a huge difference. So like, really, heading into the tournament, like at least from that perspective, I know I've done everything right, like I know, and you know, I feel like that's just a big win in general, because that's something I could never really kick before, and now it's something that I like feel really comfortable being away from and not doing, and and uh, and yeah, man, that's made a huge difference. Uh, so yeah, I feel like putting in the right work, and whether I lose my first match or win the whole thing. Like I'm at least pretty proud and happy with, what I've done to get even to that point, even to an 0-1, fucking 10-second loss in ADCC, like I'm still pretty proud of what I've done to get here. So yeah, man. I mean, I think I can win it, but I don't know. No one knows. And um rather than like obsessing over needing to win to like find some happiness and find some peace. Um, I found it now, and that really makes me feel like there's a lot less pressure to actually to win. So and hopefully some of that made sense.
That made a ton of sense. And I will say the irony, man, is you not caring. I mean, you care, but like not investing all this mental energy in winning or losing makes me as a fan excited, thinking this guy's going to be a monster at ADCC. He's going to win all these matches. Not to put the
Oh,
pressure on you, but like
yeah, there you go.
there's the irony of like you
Yeah,
sound like an athlete who's at the very top of his game, and the irony is like you're kind of divesting yourself from the results. You're not caring as much. So I
100%.
love it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
Thanks,
pretty
bro.
I'm fired up to see you, man.
Thank you,
Um,
man. No, you've always been. I always felt a lot very supported by you, man, and you know, I don't know, dude. I can always tell like someone that's actually got my best interest in mind, or someone who's just trying to like clout chase, or I don't know, just have a fake face on. And I've always felt like you genuinely do um like want to support me and stuff, and that's made me want to support you, and that's just made me very comfortable to talk to you, and and yeah, so I appreciate your support, man.
yeah, of course. I gotta put that online. We gotta blast that out. And I hope if there's any other athletes that I've interviewed listening, I hope they all feel the same way. I
I'm
like
sure they do.
truly want to support jujitsu. A few more questions here. I got to talk about this. Like 66 kilograms has been completely unaffected by Craig Jones Invitational. So
Oh
like
yeah,
it
yeah, we
is
didn't talk about that.
still for your division, right? You haven't lost any competitors. It's still
Mhm.
the same 66 kilogram division. So it doesn't really impact you directly per se, but like, what are your thoughts on what Craig's doing? Tournament the same weekend, higher prize pay. Like, where do you stand on that?
Man, okay, all right. Well, I should be careful with how I speak about it, because I do appreciate the ADCC guys a lot, But man, what Craig has done has really benefited the sport, like already. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's like there's no way ADCC would have even considered giving us show money if it weren't for Craig. There's just no way they wouldn't have done that. And as someone who has lost first round, several ADCCs and invested all this time in training and like truly made myself miserable for this fucking tournament, to not even get a cent out of each time, and especially last time, I don't know if I've publicly said this, but like breaking my fibula fucking first round at ADCC and then not even getting a dime from ADCC in compensation, like, oh, that should hurt, you know what I mean? So Craig Jones, of all people, coming along, forcing change, and putting us in a position where we're actually going to make some money for the performance that we're putting on, or just for the name, image, likeness that ADCC is using, like of ours, like, man, that's really important, and that should not be overlooked, and really cool. I'm really grateful for that, and from my perspective, yeah, it doesn't change anything because it's like I was never going to go to Craig Jones thing just based on the weight classes. And so my division has, like nothing's changed. Like I still think about the same guys. I'm still studying all their games the same way. and I just get money to do it now, which is cool. You know what I mean? Um, and so yeah, super stoked on Craig for doing that. And I don't know if it would have thrown me off had like my division been constantly affected by the Craig Jones thing. Maybe it would have. But hey, I mean, guys coming in and out, like I think that's kind of helps some of these underdogs, some of these divisions, and like, you know, there's a lot more variability. And not that there's not variability in 66 as well, but I just didn't have to think about it as much. It's the guys have stayed the same, which is really helpful. And cool. But like I said, we get money now, which is cool, man. And I appreciate ADCC for doing that, and I appreciate Craig for coming through for us. And at the very least, like he's actually showing that. I'm sure some of it is, ego based. Like I think he wants to actually, kick ADCC's ass and stick it to Gordon, et cetera, et cetera. But like it shows that he mildly cares about us, which I appreciate, because no, no, not a whole lot of people care about a professional jiu-jitsu athlete, you know what I mean? Including the people in our own sport, the promoters in our own sport. And not saying that's Mo. Mo has been very, very good to me and to everyone. I think personally. But other promoters or just fans in general, like not even fans, but you know what I mean, just people in general, maybe don't, you know, view us the same, all the same. So Craig doing this, really, really cool, man.
And I know he's talking about doing it yearly. Is that I have to
Oh,
assume that you're like thinking like, oh, maybe next year he's going to do a different weight division. Like, is that something that's on your mind?
I had not thought about that because I didn't know he was doing it yearly.
I think the plan is to do it yearly and other divisions, women's divisions, things like that. I have to
Wow,
assume that
cool.
you're
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll
hoping.
do the women's division. Yeah.
Make $1 million. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know. A lot of these girls are really good.
It's fair
But
enough.
no, but I mean, maybe I would. If he was doing it yearly and I didn't have something that weekend, yeah, surely that'd be awesome. $10,000 to do jujitsu, like to just show up to do jujitsu is insane. Um, I mean, I've won, I think only one $10,000 tournament, and fucking had to win 4 matches, and I think, oh no, the other one was combat jiu-jitsu, and I had to fucking get slapped in the face in 4 matches. So it's like to just show up, have one match or potential, minimum one match, right, and get $10,000 is pretty fucking awesome. I would be super down for that. Come on,
I love to see it. Love to see the changes in jujitsu.
yeah,
Um,
man, me too.
One more kind of topic that a bit of a hot topic. It's calmed down a little bit, but you recently on an Instagram post talked about like you don't want to put anybody else down, but you're proud to be doing this as a natural athlete, never touching any sort of PEDs. Talk to me about like why that's important to you, why you're specifically proud of that.
Okay, well, like, yeah, it's I only said that because like I personally think I deserve credit. I'm not like I don't need a pat on the back or anything, but it's like when people are looking at the upper echelon of the sport and they're seeing all these guys, I think it's just assumed that oh, they're all kind of doing things the exact same. There's like there's no um like they're all weighed the exact same, but it's like no, that guy, 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 and then me, you know what I mean? Like all those guys above me are fucking on something. Not all the guys, but you know what I mean? Like a great majority of the people in the division are on like excessive amounts of gear. And and I'm not and it's not because like I don't have this like hard moral stance. It's more from um like kind of a physiological like standpoint. Like I don't like fucking with my body too much. I take like a lot of care in my nutrition, my you know, just general health. I don't want cancer. I don't want some random disease. I don't want even any like weird side effects. I'm scared of that, and I know that I'm not gonna get that by having a steak. But I definitely would if I'm fucking pumping myself full of something. Um, even like testosterone or something like that. And I don't know how widely used that is in my weight. But I know in jiu-jitsu it is. It's like that's kind of even a people act like it's not a huge thing. Oh, it's just testosterone. Like, bro, that's a huge thing. Like, you're gonna have to be on that for the rest of your life. Like, that's gonna drastically fuck up your, you know, endocrine system and your hormones and stuff. And like, I'm not ready to do that. So it's not like I said, it's not a moral thing. Like, I don't. It's not against the rules, so it's not cheating. So I'm not saying that, but it is like it's a shortcut. It's an objective shortcut, and I'm not taking that. I don't do shortcuts. I do everything, the hard way, and I do everything kind of on my own. Within reason. Like I have a team, but you know what I mean. Like, I take a lot of pride in doing things. Um, I think kind of the hard way. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm efficient in my training, but like, I put in a lot of work, and I have to like use normal supplements, for recovery, which are not as good as like any performance enhancing drug that you're gonna get. You know what I mean? And so yeah, like not no shade. I don't care. Like I'm still gonna compete against everyone. It's not like I'm refusing to compete against someone because they're on PEDs. But like I'm not, and I know there's other guys, there's plenty of other guys that aren't, and I wish they would talk about it more because it's like, man, you do deserve credit for that. Like, and I'm glad to hear the Rotulos talk about it a lot, because I think they deserve credit, and um, likewise, I think I do as well. But like I said, not against the rules, not a big deal. It's pretty normalized, so like I understand people not, viewing it as a shortcut or as like a method for, you know, um, kind of getting an advantage, although it is, and I would just warn people like who don't really think of it that way, don't think of it as, like as if there's anything wrong with it. Like, there are no free rides. Like everything, all good things come to an end, and like you might feel amazing now, but I am not sure how you're gonna feel when you're 40, and I don't think you are either. So yeah, man, I would just advise any young person or specifically young person, really anyone. It's like it's never too late, but any young person, like focus on your training habits, your sleep and recovery, your supplements, your strength conditioning, um, and all those things. I think will have like a much more positive effect than like an outside substance that you're taking that you think will kind of supplement all those things that you can get from other avenues, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's you're not gonna feel like Superman, but like you don't deserve to. Like we're not here to be fucking action figures. Like we're you want I like people. I like normal people. Um, I think it's kind of weird when I think it's super weird when people are trying to like enhance their body in a really odd way because they think it'll just make them better at jiu-jitsu or have more success in jiu-jitsu. That's pretty lame, in my opinion. I understand wanting to have muscles and wanting to, you know, be sexy and stuff. Like of course I understand that. But that's not why these guys are doing it. They're doing it to fucking win a jiu-jitsu tournament, which is so lame, I think. And really the risk versus reward, like a lot has been made of you know athlete pay leading into this ADCC CJI kind of thing. Um, Even still, like not that much. I mean, two guys are gonna get $1 million, and that's it. Like everyone else is like making okay money for a professional athlete, but not really. You know what I mean? And definitely the ADCC guys are not. You know what I mean? Like, um, maybe over the course of your career you win ADCC, you win $1 million, but like even still that's a lot of work. It's not a lot of money, and it's like I said, in my opinion, just not worth fucking, I don't know, just taking whatever weird stuff people are taking. I don't know, I just anything with like a weird name, clomifim or fucking andestrone or like anything like that is just like weird. I just don't want to. I want to eat eggs and like maybe like take creatine or something, which is even kind of like kind of hard for me to do. Already just from a habit perspective, it's hard for me to take creatine. But anyways, like all those things, like I don't know, man. I just think it's weird. I just think it's weird and lame, you know. And like if you're doing it to get an advantage in jiu-jitsu, you're lame. You're super lame, in my opinion. That's just me.
No, man, I love to hear you talk about it, man. I think it's important. I think you, like you said, you mentioned the Ruotolos talking about it. Like I think that's changing the culture for sure. And bring it back to something you said earlier. Apparently, you got abs now, so you don't even
I
need
know. You,
steroids.
you apparently don't need it. I would have thought maybe that you did. Um, or I used to think like you needed a very drastic weight cut to have abs, but now like, I mean, I've yeah, consistent abs, which is a win. You know, electric performance. Check them out if you want abs.
I will say too, man. I asked that question to. I've asked it to Mikey Musumeci, Fionn
Oh yeah,
Davis, Nikki Rod. I've asked like why is it important for you to be steroid free? Your response is the same as Nikki Rod's basically, which is, and you know, the Ruotolos are more like, oh, we want to set a good example. Nikki Rod
yeah,
is similar to you of like, I don't want to put that stuff in my body, which is funny because like, you know, he's notoriously the most like handsome, jacked grappler there is, and here's this
yeah.
guy having the same reasons for not doing steroids as you. So maybe you're headed towards
Oh
the
yeah,
Nicky Rod path.
dude. You know, I mean, we both look like Superman. So now that I have these new muscles, right?
Yeah, for
Nah,
sure.
man. Yeah, Nick's the man, and he was I trained with him a lot in Jersey, when I lived out there for a brief period, and he set a really cool example for me. Like I was watching him um, kind of take a no BS approach to his training and lifestyle, and I always thought that was really cool. So yeah, to hear him say stuff like that is really cool.
For sure, man. All right. It's been about 55 minutes. We're coming up on an hour.
Oh, good.
That was all I had for you today, man. I know you
Cool.
got a Patreon. Like tell us, like plug your
Cool.
stuff so people can support you.
Yeah, man, dude. Patreon, new videos coming today. Actually, I just filmed a ton of stuff with my girlfriend yesterday. We're really excited about some really cool stuff. Videos coming today. I'm selling shirts for ADCC with Alex Grandy as well. We have a combined shirt that we're selling. I would order those ASAP if anyone listening is interested because the wait might be close to 4 weeks, and you know we're obviously about a month away from ADCC. So order as soon as you can. But like that in general, even if you don't, um, you know, even if you're not going to ADCC and you just want the shirt, just to wear it at the house while you're watching, please do. It supports me and Alex and means a lot. Just honestly, like, just means a lot to me to see people wear or support me in any way. So like, if no other reason, just donate the $25 to the t-shirt fund, and you get a thing to show your support. So yes, and if I see you at ADCC wearing it, I'm gonna stop you no matter what you're doing and take a selfie with you if that's any incentive or if it de-incentivizes you. But yeah, that's I think the only two things I got going on. I'm not doing any seminars right now. Oh, but you can get in touch with me about after ADCC if you want me to come to your gym and teach a seminar. I think that's it. I think that might be it. Yeah. Shout out my sponsors: Santa Cruz Medicinals, Perry, and Electron Performance.
Sweet man. Everybody go support Keith. Get Keith Krikorian's face on your shirt. You know, can't beat that.
Yeah.
All right, man. That was all I had. Thanks again. Always a pleasure. And I'm so much looking forward to seeing you compete at ADCC.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man.